we're ready to complete this chapter, or at least this part of the lecture. This is part 2, and we're going to cover family medical leave, safety, and health care in this part. I think we'll have 3 parts. There's quite a bit to cover, and I don't like to have you sitting here for over 10 to 15 minutes. It gets kind of boring. We have a terrible storm going on outside right now, so if we lose electricity or you hear thunder or the dogs go berserk, it's because we had a big lightning strike nearby. So let's begin by looking at what they call the Family Medical Leave Act, or FMLA. And this act is for employers or businesses with over 50 workers, and it includes 12 weeks of unpaid family leave in any 12-month period for workers who've worked for at least a year, and are, I guess you could say, vested in this act if you want to look at it in that sense. They have family leave for care of a baby or for an adoption. They can get medical leave for care of a spouse, misspelled word, oops, or a child or a parent. And they can get 26 weeks leave to help care for somebody from the military. And then there's something called 12 weeks exigency leave for non-medical emergencies. So it covers a broad array of events that can happen. There are penalties, for violating this act. One is you could be compensated for lost benefits. You could have your job reinstated. You could have court costs and attorney fees paid, and as an employee, you could, if it was in bad faith, if it was absolutely intentional, premeditated, you could be awarded damages for violations of the Family Health Care or Family and Medical Leave Act. So it does have some teeth to it. You need to be well aware of it, especially if you fall within the parameters of over 50 workers. We're going to move on now. Whoops, there's a question. So I'll meet you at safety. You go do the question. Now let's look at the safety. The safety issues for a company all fall under OSHA, or Occupational Safety and Health Care Act, and it was designed to keep workspaces safe, to ensure that workers were working in a healthy and safe environment. The Healthcare Act, healthcare, boy, I've got that one on the mind. The OSHA Act, or the OSHA statute, says that you can't be fired for refusing to work in an unsafe space. It also regulates safety guards for machinery in a factory. Many people were losing fingers, arms, hands, working in an industrial factory environment, so it provides that you have to have guards on the machinery. It also looks at the maximum time that you can be exposed to certain substances and who can be exposed to those substances. A strange part of the act is, or at least I consider a strange part, is they go around and check to make sure you have all the safety notices posted on OSHA. And you can actually be fined for not having that up, so it's a big job just keeping track of that. OSHA also monitors record keeping, such as a safety log, to see how many accidents have occurred and when and why, and that you are aware of them as an employer. If there is an employee death, or there are 3 employees that have been injured and hospitalized, OSHA must be notified within 8 hours, or there's a penalty for that, and there's always an investigation after something like this happens to find out why the accident happened and if there was a safety violation, and to prevent future activities or accidents. And usually you can have frequent OSHA inspections if there have been violations in your plant before. Sometimes they can be unannounced. So OSHA can be a very big factor in a business, and it's very important that you follow or are aware of the rules and regulations and the requirements of OSHA. There's another question, and then we're going to take a peek at healthcare. So go do your question. I'll meet you down at healthcare. And here we are at healthcare. There are a couple of programs, 3 programs, that are covered with healthcare. We can start with Medicare, which is taken out of your check, and part of it's paid for by your employer and part of it's paid for by you. And Medicare are for employees who become disabled or employees who have retired. And it's a health care insurance program for those over 65. Medicaid, I guess, is for the disabled, or for somebody who's become disabled. At any rate, if you are hurt on the job and can no longer work, you would be eligible for Medicare or Medicaid. And it covers the hospital, doctors, and prescriptions, and it's paid by the employer and the employee at 7.65% of the wages. I don't believe there are any limitations on Medicare as far as an income limit when they stop withholding. Boy, I have to think. I take that back. No, there are no limitations on that one. Social Security, you can only go up to a certain income level. For the self-employed, they will pay all of that. So that would be an amount of about 15%. And there is a deduction with that, I think, of about 1.65%. When you file your taxes. So Medicare has many rules and regulations that have to be followed by a company in the payroll side. There's also something called COBRA insurance. And a company has to notify you and explain to you what COBRA is, if you're going to lose your job through them, because that will continue on your insurance. But you would have to pay for COBRA insurance. There's group health insurance. It's called HIPAA, and it limits the ability to refuse insurance for a pre-existing condition. And it also covers your health information. They can't give out your health information. And when you go into a doctor's office, you're signing all kinds of acknowledgments that they've explained this to you, or you've at least read about it. And finally, there's the infamous, right now, Affordable Health Care Act that we're still debating, either in the Supreme Court or in the House and Senate. But it is a viable act, and it does affect businesses, and it will soon affect small businesses. I believe in July of 2015, there will be new regulations come into effect for the small business environment for getting health insurance for their employees. So that's one to keep an eye on. All of these have many requirements that an employer needs to be aware of, or they're going to be in violation of federal law and can be fined and forced to comply with that statute. So another question, and we're going to, I think we've hit the end of this one. We've covered family medical leave, we've covered safety, and we've covered health care. In the next part, we're going to cover income security, and we're going to cover employment discrimination and equal opportunity commission. So thank you for listening. Take care of your question. I will see you in the next video. This is part 2. Thank you.